Thank you for joining me again on TMI Tuesday. We're going to be looking at the topic which centers on INEC and 2023, the task and the threats. What is before INEC? What is before the government of President Muhammadu Buhari to make sure that we have credible polls? And what really, basically, we're looking at the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and what is needed to ensure that the INEC, electoral umpire, hits the ground running. Preparations towards 2023 election, should be up right now. And so we remember vividly where the INEC boss did say that not until the Electoral Act Amendment Bill is signed into law, the release of the timetable for 2023 election will not be up. So basically, we look at the passage of that bill, which is before the president for assent, the issues that really nosedived in the course of last year, where the president refused to give assent to that bill, and then the need for the National Assembly to go back and do a better work, a job on it. All that happened, the biting and the controversies that came up with that, basically will be the crux of what we're going to be looking at today. And starting from my extreme left, like I usually do, I have an erudite and articulate clergyman. He is the senior pastor of Sword of Liberation Bible Church, Bishop Austin Igbasan. Thanks for coming, Bishop Austin.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
And next to him is a political analyst, erudite, also in his capacity, and he is Osaitin Alile. Thanks for coming, Osaitin.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers.
Well, we are looking forward to the president signing the Electoral Act Amendment Bill before him. It's been harmonized by the National Assembly, and there seem to be other worries and concerns before the president on signing the assent. I want your voice on this, Bishop Austin.
My own contribution to it is that when you look at the first time this bill was presented to Mr. President, there are a lot of things that he complained about, and one of them is that the time is too short to be able to assent to it. And you remember then there was an issue of date for the election, which the president himself is even afraid, as at that time, that if his own election have to be pushed by that date that the National Assembly was presenting, there might not be loyalty, and he might definitely lose the 2019 election. That one, everyone is aware, was one of the bone of contention why that was not signed, that there's a rift between the National Assembly and himself. And considering that, I felt in my heart, I believe that as a president, this is a valedictory signature that will have put his name on the sand of time. I say it in the context that when you are in an election year, I'm not expecting the president now to do a flyover, to do any bridge, to commission any project. If you are praying for that, that may be a special prayer point. Now, but to help politicians, when you get to election year, you're going to be spending much money. Money is going to be made available. You're going to be on the running. A lot of things will be going on. So I feel that for now, I don't have a faith that the president will sign the bill. I'm not a prophet of doom, but I'm not having the faith because he has proved at the first time and the second time bringing this kind of thing. The question is that if the president is not, the party of the president is not controlling the majority of the National Assembly, I would have said, oh, the man have the might to sign. And some for a president to run over a bill, there is a way to do it. Because number one, you control the National Assembly. Your party control the National Assembly. If you have a direction concerning a bill, you have a kitchen cabinet and you call your men in the National Assembly and sit together with them and say, look at my direction. Look at where I'm going to. So when you are presenting this bill, I want it to go this way. And that is how it is done. It has been done at other time. And you see that the PIB bill was signed by the same Mr. President, and the gray area, he represented it again to the National Assembly. You ask yourself a question, why was that not done as far as electoral act is concerned? That you sign the same way you sign the PIB, and you now point to the gray area and represent it. Don't forget that you are controlling the National Assembly. Your party, for goodness sake, control the National Assembly. I give an example that the last assembly, when the president rejected it, do you know the irony of it? Nigerian money was, taxpayer money was used to pay the legislators that are sat down to discuss this issue, public hearing. People flew in down from different places to opinions were molded, and civil society organization. Do you know the time and the fund that was wasted, and one man refused to sign? Now we wasted resources for men who were sitting down. Is it the diesel that was used to power the National Assembly when they sit down to discuss, or the logistic that is attached to it? It's a waste on its own. For a president that controls the National Assembly, has the majority, he has power to call them. We have seen situations where the president invited them and he had meeting with them and said, look at the direction I'm going. And at the end of the day, things were harmonized. Then the question is that, is it a divided house? Why would the president wait for his men to bring a bill that he is not comfortable with some area, when he has opportunity and power to call them and say, look, I don't want this, I don't want this, I want you to go this way, and this one will have run smoothly, and he will have append his signature to it. And even though if they go contrary, he has power to sign and represent, say it the same way. So I don't have faith that Mr. President is going to sign. And I'm telling you that they are going to point to some areas. They are going to point to some areas, and through that they will tell you, for this, you can read the body language of me, the AGF yesterday. He said, I have not perused it, I have not read through it, I have not done that. But you also know that with such a bill, the Minister of Justice has a role to play in advising Mr. President. But looking at the direction where they are going, I don't have any faith that it is going to be signed. Right. You will see that they will bring some gray area out also, and it will still be merry-go-round. But it's painful, because when it happened in the days of Yaradua, late Yaradua said the election that brought me to power was not a clean election, and the first thing the man did was to set up Justice Waste Committee, and the man started acting from there. Death didn't allow him to be able to finish up. Jonathan came on board and started from there. We had the card reader, because they are building up. Before Jonathan left, he signed some things. Now it was presented to Mr. President that there will be a live transmission, electronic transmission. It was during his time that INEC denied before the court that they don't have a server. And it was during his time also the INEC came up and said, okay, we cannot transmit. And when we have the logistics, don't forget that the former assembly signed all the funds that INEC need to buy those equipment to transmit results. INEC cannot tell us that they needed a fund to buy it again. Though everything is possible in Nigeria. The other assembly have signed, and they've gotten the equipment to be able to transmit live. But the man said the time is short. The man is given a long time now. He came up with why would you say this and that? These are the gray area. It has been represented again. But I think what is happening around is that there's a rift between the National Assembly and the presidency. And there's a break, there's a crack in the party leadership and the structure. This is telling on why the National Assembly are making some points as far as the Electoral Act is concerned. And the presidency also are looking at it that if we allow them and we go ahead and sign, we may be shooting ourselves in the foot, because of some of the other people we want them to take over from us. Some of our surrogates, we want them to be in power. This clause might not really suit them. So you cannot rule out the disagreement between the National Assembly members, the governors of their state, the party hierarchies, and what is happening now.
Thank you very much, Austin Igbasan, for that. But let's look at the side of the National Assembly, where the bill before the president, what they did in the clause 84, which really could hamper the smooth running of the appointees by the president to run for offices, and also to vote as voting delegates and aspirants also. Because usually what they do is that they are given leave of absence, And when they now go for their various posts, if they are not able to clinch it as candidates of the party, they come back to their appointments. But this is not going to be business as usual. Do you think this could be a clock for the president not to sign this bill into law?
Yes. Let me say this. You know, a house that is divided against itself cannot stand. Now, before now, we used to have a liaison officer between the executive and the National Assembly, where I think Victor Etta was one time in that position, where they liaise between the House of Assembly, National Assembly, and the executive. In this dispensation, I don't think that one is being followed, because when a bill is being prepared, you know, there should be an harmonization between the executive and the legislator. There should be an in-house disagreement and an agreement, so that at the end of the day, when it's presented, you know, to the president, then the gray area must have you know, be sorted out. But I am so surprised that a country where we have just almost a one-party system in the House of Assembly, that fighting against, and I'm also seeing a rift between the National Assembly and the executive, because the executive is looking at it as that whatever the House of Assembly is doing is targeted to reducing the power of the executive. You know, like the rift that I think will come up in the clause now, that an appointee of the president cannot vote it cannot be a delegate. You understand? That one will not be. You understand? So you are now weakening the power of the executive. I want to say that whatever we are doing in this country, whether executive, whether legislature, we should look at the interest of the people at heart, the totality of the entire country. That is what we'll be looking at.
But isn't it right for someone that is vying for a position to resign from the present position he occupies? Isn't that common sense?
But that one has been happening.
Yes, but an aspect where you give leave of absence.
Yes, for example.
And when you now fail to clinch the party's candidacy, you come back to your position. That's exactly what the National Assembly or the bill is trying to really tackle.
But for now, we don't know that yet, because they've not raised that issue yet. You understand? According to Attorney General of the Federation yesterday, the bill is still, they've not go through the bill. They've not, you know, but to me...
But it's in public domain.
But I want to say,
is in public domain. That could be the challenge.
I want to say that all these challenges, it doesn't call for. You know, this is a country, it's our country. The House of Assembly members, they are members of this country. The executive, they are members, and they told us they are for the interest of the people. What they should have been doing now is to see how they can strengthen the electoral process with both sides. Not one side going to Lagos, the other side going to Abuja. Everybody should be seen going to the same side. Though we have different functions, but those different functions must jar towards the upliftment and the general well-being of the country, of the people. So I think the actual assembly and the executive should sit down, because what they are doing now doesn't all go well into this country. It will affect us economically. It will affect us in the presence of the whole world. You know, while we are saying that our currency is going down, or most of our things are going down, it's not because majorly because we don't produce. It's because the body language of our elected people, or those who are governing this country, their body language does not showcase a good light to this country. So how can the executive and the legislature be fighting over a bill where you can sit down to call and harmonize and give us a better... There's
a law that meets the eye concerning what, if we look at history, what happened in time past. You know, some are saying that this could not be a far-fetched from the federal lawmakers' plans to also, you know, whittle down the powers of the governors, because that was where they were when they refused that the direct mode of primaries, you know, should be the order of the day. And they really went against indirect and consensus and spoke for direct. So now that the bill has been harmonized and is before the president, some believe this could be another trap set by the National Assembly for the governors not to be able to have their way to determine their positions in the parties. What do you think?
You can't rule that one out of it. And you see the executive, this is just my mindset. The executive have so much power, And if you look at the democracy, executive is the second arm of the government, not even the first arm. But they have taken the position of Isaac, taking the position of Ishmael. They lord over not only the legislature alone. You see governors today. Governors are like they are like emperor. They talk. Even the Almighty God is not talking like the governors. The Almighty God that created us, He give us opportunities. He said, "Life and death, choose." But our governors today, they talk as if they are the owner of the lives of men, that they were not voted into power. They talk as if the vote of people does not count. You see governors today, they appoint judges. They want to rule the House of Assemblies. They want to appoint speaker. They want to appoint all the officers in the House of Assembly. When a speaker sneezes, then the governor remove him just with the twinkling of an eye. He will remove him and said, it is just the assembly. The assembly are not autonomous. They are not free. And that is why I feel that the time has come. The time has come for us to spell it out. The judiciary today, you see, there's an example of Kogi State where a judge gave a judgment against the state. And the governor of the state refused to pay almost a year's salary of the judge. Frustrated the man, because if you can give this judgment against the state, then you are going to face it. Now, how are we going to allow the arms of democracy to function well? I feel that the power of the executive is too much, and if there are assemblies, doesn't come and mention any state in Nigeria that the House of Assembly are independent. Are you going to mention Edo State or mention other state that is independent? They in the days of Oshomole, they have a room. They operate in the government house, and in this tenure, the numbers are not complete. And you see, if anything happens, the governor decide. So we come and mention the governor in Nigeria today that the House of Assemblies are independent, and they can look at their governor in the face and say, "Mr. Governor, come. We are inviting you. We want to ask you questions about so-so project in so-so place, in so-so place." How many House of Assembly can do their oversight function and look at the executive in his eye and say, we are not convinced about the quality of this project and the money allocated for it. We want you to come and explain. Let's start from here in Edo State. Let's start from other states. Come and mention to me a state today that is the governors are not the one ruling. They rule the judiciary. They determine. Go to some of the courts today. You see where the judges are giving their judgment. Your kitchen is even far better than that, because what happens is that the executive have taken the role of being the Lord of all. You appoint commissioner, you determine what happened in House of Assembly, you determine what happened in judiciary, you determine what happened in other places, even in local government. How many of the governors today are doing local government election? What is their fear of not doing local government election? Why is it difficult for the governor, even when the president said let them be autonomous, all the governors came together and make sure that the executive order did not see the light of the day? What is their fear? What is their fear? How many of the governors are sincere and be able to say, okay, I want an opposition to win a local government under my tenure? When Chief Lucky Benedo was here, we have a local government is Barrister Ida Hagbon was the chairman of the local government, and when they were assessing all the local government, I think he came number 2. Chief Lucky James of one other is Esako something was number 1, and they gave an opposition party number 2. Which party will do that today? How many of the governors will sit down today and allow somebody in opposition to be able to have a way, or clap for a man? Go and look at Uselu, who's Evake spare part. That interlocking ties from the beginning of Texami Road to that market was done by Barrister Ida Hagbon. Ida Hagbon was not part of PDP. He was an opposition MPP then, but they didn't perforate him. He was allowed to work. But today, what do we see? The governors that we have today in Nigeria, you cannot see anybody. When there is local government election, it's all win, everybody win. My party must sweep everywhere, as if there is no dissenting voice of other people. So I am of the opinion, if the National Assembly does not rise up to make sure they deliver themselves from the grip of the governor, I support it. The governor must not determine who become a senator. The governor must not determine who become a House of Rep. If the party must be supreme to be able to know this man is the person we want to run this position, and the party member must be able to determine, not a governor sitting down and putting a surrogate in all the position. Why is it today that we have administrators in local governments? Why is it that local government election, governors that are elected by election have never allowed election to run so that they can appoint chairman of local government? Even when you bring technocrats and you say they are better than politicians, they are even worse. So that is why the issue is that the National Assembly and the houses of assembly must be able to deliver themselves. For the first time, we're able to look in the days of Chief Lucky Bimedo, we have a speaker here, Barrister Matthew Egbado. He stood his ground, and you see the governor respected him. It was not a business something. The man stood his ground, and the House of Assembly, they perused the activity of the governor then. And the governor he didn't cut off their head. He didn't amputate them. I was there when late Dr. Iyayi, Professor Iyayi, when he was a doctor. Chief Lucky Binedo was in a public function in we call it Sunday Abattoir Cultural Center then, the one close to Oba Palace. And Dr. Iyayi delivered a lecture that I was seated in that place. I think circles of some team of members of the legislature organized that program. The man delivered a lecture, sir. If as a bishop, if a pastor delivers such a lecture, I won't be able to wait to finish it. Chief Lucky Binedo sat down. That man was raining abuses on him and pointing onto some gray area of his government. And when it was time for governor to talk, the governor appreciated the man and said those areas will be looked into. Come and point to me in Nigeria today any governor that will sit down and somebody will come and deliver a lecture and point to your gray area, and by the grace of God, the grandmother of that person or the mother-in-law will not be arrested by area commander before the man gets home. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is that the totality of the power given to the executive is too much. And if the legislature today close their eye, we won't have a democracy.
Well, let's see what is before the INEC as the electoral umpire, because the leadership keeps saying that not until this amendment bill, has been passed into law, the timetable will not be released. Should it be so?
Well, I think it is time for the electoral umpire to stand and perform their function, because we are not supposed to do their good job for them. The electoral umpire should be able to come up with ideas of making their job easy and credible. So this process of waiting for executive, the law has set you up as an INEC to give you the responsibility to conduct a free and fair election. What you should do is to come up with ideas, come up with ways in which you can do the election and people accept it. Though it depends on the laws that is on ground, but there's a
the electoral law is a very, very salient.
We are not short of laws
that they can't do without.
Sir, we are not short of laws in this country. We are not short of laws. Even the existing one. The existing one can give us a credible election if the people that are part of it do according to the law. So we are not short of law. All this English of electoral law, electoral process. Have you seen in the US how many times they change their laws? Do you even know the INEC chairman in the US or in this developed country? Because these people believe in the institutions. Our institutions are not effective. For example, we are talking about our houses of assembly. It is this state that they voted against their autonomy. At the House of Assembly, there was a time in this state they voted against their own autonomy. So, see, when we say people should wake up to their responsibility, the executive, yes, they have bundled up the other aspects of the government, like the local government. This country during Benedict time, it was the INEC that was conducting local government election, not state electoral process. It was INEC, the national INEC, that was conducting local government. That's why you see opposition could win an election, because it was not in the hand of the governors.
Okay, but they can't go about their duties without embarking on relying on the electoral laws, which is still being under.
Yes. For example, INEC came up with a card reader. And in Anambra, they came up with a biometric system. You understand? So it was not law that set it up. They came up with that system in Anambra, and by His grace, they did it perfectly. though there were gray areas, but it was an improvement on the previous one. So the INEC to me should be focused because our institutions are so weak. INEC, a law I've set up at INEC. Today is not today we start reviewing the electoral process or electoral law. INEC to me should not wait whether they sign the law because it will wait forever. They will wait forever. What they should be doing is to sit down, to restructure their system, put the right peg in the right hole, and bring out ideas. And use the idea to give us a better election. For the executive, the executive has a lot of power, and we should go back to our constitution. Go back to our constitution. This issue of the aspects of assembly, they sold themselves to the executive. That's why you see this executive does not respect them. Now in this state, how can 12 persons or 8 persons be enacting law, and your own colleague is at home? Your own colleagues, as a member of our assembly, is at home, and you are comfortable bringing laws illegally. And you want to blame the governor?
No, you can't say that. You can't say that because
it's law. It's law.
I think the court is deciding that case.
Sir, that is why.
So it's already a litigation.
So that is why.
You can't say that.
That is why.
You can't say that.
That is why people will vote into power. It's very crucial. People will vote into elected position. How can somebody that does not have the mental ability, the educational empowerment, cannot stand in the House of Assembly and look at the governor at the face and talk to the governor? So we start. It begins from where we begin to voting people. Today we voting party. We don't vote in individual who we believe can stand and protect our interests. All we do, we just every tick and hurry go to the House of Assembly, and the government bundle them. They don't know their right, left from their right. So it is time for us as citizens. To me, it still boils down on the citizen. Who do we choose to represent us?
Okay, what is in context is actually the aspect of the electoral law, which basically is suffering a setback because the Electoral Act Amendment Bill before the president really underscore what the performance of INEC, Don't you think that is a huge bill that should be signed into law and that the INEC body should wait for before they embark on their activities?
Now, one thing about I don't believe that INEC should wait for it, as much as that bill is very, very important for them to carry out their duty. Now, do you know that there are people that are 18 now? What is the INEC doing about them to register them now so that they will be eligible to vote in 2023? Do INEC need to wait for Almighty God to come down, or that law they are waiting for now to be able to set up? How do we register those who are 18 already? Now, those who have had their PVC and they have not been able to collect it, what sensitization is the INEC doing? What arrangement are they having with National Orientation Agency? Have we seen INEC inside the market, the Public Enlightenment Department of INEC, that we expected that by now there should be banner, there should be poster, people should be in markets, women, to say that even INEC themselves should look for a local singer who will sing in the dialect of the people in the market. Wear some INEC staff will wear some t-shirt that will be talking about what it takes to make sure that you come out and vote. You know that Nigerians doesn't believe that their vote counts. That's why you see that in this part, in the south, you see that many people play football during election. Some people are watching home video. Now, what is the INEC doing? Do they need to wait for this law you are talking about for them to?
But what you just said, all of this takes funds.
It takes funds.
Which INEC is also waiting for.
INEC, do they not have enough funds? Have they not been mobilized? Have they not taken some money in the budget? Now we are talking of idea now, that some of these local singers, young singers, that when they talk to the youth listen to them. Now taking them from somewhere, get a low bed, get a trumpeter and some other person. These are things that INEC officials can do to say, okay, we are waiting for the law. Let us go into the public place and sensitize the people. Okay, let us come up after this sensitization. Let's build up a place where people can go back and just register those who are 18. How do we do? What do we do to make it incentive? What is the state government doing on their own to say, okay, within so time, we want to allow workers to close at so time, close at 2 o'clock, so that you people can be able to vote, you'll be able to go and get your PVC, even right in the Federal Secretariat or state secretariat where INEC will have a stand where people can come in there and just register. But in the campuses, in the schools we have around, Edo State have a lot of tertiary institutions. What are the plans of the INEC? Do they need to wait? These are things they can do from their miscellaneous fund. How much does it take to pick a local singer who will sing in the dialect of the people and get people from that locality who will stand and sensitize people inside the market and tell them you have to come out and vote. Don't sell your vote. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Don't forget this come across the 30 states of the federation.
I am telling you, it does not take a rocket science.
Looking at about 774 government areas.
As a bishop, I still preach in the market. I preach in different markets. I go there, not sending a pastor. I stay in the market and clap hand and dance with market women and preach the gospel to them, because that is the essence of why I was sent. I'm not sent to just be on television or be living a flamboyant life. I come down to meet the grassroots people and share. I move on the road, even at night. I move on the road to know what is happening. That's why no government can tell me we are doing so road, we are doing so place.
Yeah, but your vision is different from that of INEC.
But what I'm saying is
your vision was given to you by God.
Yes,
but INEC by the government.
The government has given a vision to the INEC. Now, when you are given, God gave us brains so that we can give him rest. If not, as you are here, you will have asked God, should I wash my teeth? Lord, should I open my eye? Lord, motor is coming. Should I cross the road? Oh, Dangote truck is coming. Can I cross the road? God gave you brain so that you will not be asking all those questions from God. God, should I breathe? Should I breathe in or breathe out? Now, the INEC collects so much money. Do you know all this INEC stuff? If EFCC go after them, you see some of them, they build houses that a professor in the university can never have money to build. What I'm saying is that the system has been corrupted. That's why you see an INEC officer will tell you that there is no money to go to the market. What does it take to go to the market? To go to the market and just sensitize the people and do something that will make us relevant. We must not be dozer in this country. Even if we have dozer leader, there are ways you can come out and do some things that everybody will appreciate. Do you know that before late Dora Akuyili become head of NAFDAC, nobody heard about NAFDAC? But one woman came on board, and America have to even send their own food and drug control to come and even learn in Nigeria. That tells you that we have what it takes in this country to deport white men. God has given us so much, but we are not given the grace to have good leader. I tell you today, go to the universities. You see that the best is not ever the VC. Some of them, you see, somebody is a VC and is sleeping in a meeting that is having with Senate because he has nothing to offer. Somebody somewhere just nominated his name. We have to come to a level where we work on. You see, we talk about House of Assembly just now in Edo State. I said it on this same forum. When those men were member-elect, I told them, you cannot fight. I gave an analogy that if you are doing a coronation of a deacon in the church and your vehicle spoiled on the road during the coronation and you were not able to make the coronation, now they say come and collect your certificate on Sunday or Tuesday and you will still sit there in the chair of a deacon and you'll be given a job to do and we will anoint you, but not on that Sunday. Sunday has passed. If really you want to work for God, you will come and take your certificate on Tuesday and take the oil and take your seat and take your duty in the place. I said it to those member-elect then that you cannot fight the governor from outside. If you are going to fight him or correct him, you must allow yourself to be sworn in. But what is their problem? They were running after one man. That comes to how do we elect people to represent us? People who, because of one man, relocated to Abuja and they were not looking at their constituent. In this same program, I said it there that if truly your people are elected you, why are you in Abuja? Come back to your people and go and be sworn in. Don't give your loyalty to one man. Today, where is that one man? They have given their loyalty. If their loyalty is really to their constituent, they would have gone in to be sworn in. And I tell you, Philip, if they have acted to my advice, the governor will have been the one begging them, because you have the majority and you are coming now to be sworn in on Tuesday or morning prayer or afternoon, midnight. You said they did VG to swear other people in. Swear yourself in on morning prayer. They missed that opportunity. If they have come in, I said, you can't fight as member-elect. You must fight as a member. We were all here when Thomas Okosu was removed. We were all here when other speakers were removed. We were all here when people are putting granite in the front of National Assembly, House of Assembly, and they took them to government house. We were all here when a sitting governor in this state used 8 members to sign his budget. That governor is still alive. So what I'm saying is that if those men knew that the people voted them, that it is not one man that their loyalty was connected to that voted them, they would have gone into the House of Assembly. It's not about your face, it's about what the law says, that you should be sworn in. You cannot say the letter that is said transmitted. Okay, the law says something about it.
I think we shouldn't digress.
No, what I'm saying is that we should look at the cleansing must start from INEC. Looking at the people, the loyalty must go back to the people. That's why I concur with the National Assembly that they should put pepper into the governor's eye and make sure this thing run. That is the only way we can correct our democracy and put it back on track. Okay, when a judge cannot give a judgment against a city, a government of a state, then where are we heading to? Our children are in University of Benin reading law. What is going to be their hope?
You've made your point. Thank you.
Let me quickly
just in case I'll come back to you. Just in case you're just watching us, as TMI Tuesday, and we have the topic on the screen, which is on INEC and 2023, the task and the threats. Looking at the task before INEC, before the government, and the threats that could be associated with it. And I've been discussing with the senior pastor, Sword of Liberation Bible Church, Bishop Austin Igbasa, and also a political analyst, Osai Alile. Thanks for sustaining the tempo on the discussion. But let's look at this challenge where there was an issue that came up over the confirmation of appointment of Professor Gumos Roda as a national commissioner for INEC. And reports have it that even the People's Democratic Party are really kicking against that, because they say, as a card-carrying member, as it is being alleged, that he shouldn't be a member of the electoral umpire. What do you make of this? Do you see this as worrisome?
Yes, let me quickly...
Why you react to what he said?
Yeah, in INEC, as we speak, voters registration is ongoing. And if you don't register not in March, you cannot vote in the next election. Now, how many people have this information? If you go to a local government, the INEC local government, they only have 2 machines that is servicing 10 wards. Mm-hmm. When you go there, if you are more than 30, 40 a day, I think the whole day, you just made the whole day there. So, does INEC require the law to provide those machines, to make them available? Does INEC require the law to make that machine available in different places across the local government? So what are we saying? So we need, our institution must be working. We don't have institution in this country. We try to put blame. The governors will put blame of the president.
What do you mean we don't have institutions? We have. We do have.
Our institution is not working. You can't say we don't have. We have
government institutions.
They're not effective.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion, because there are laws and also the executive implementing these laws. So you can't say that there are no institutions. And even if you say there are now, for you to say that they are not effective is your personal opinion.
Well, it's my personal opinion.
Yes.
But that is what I observed. I'm old enough to know a institution that is working.
Okay.
I just told you, in the whole of a local government, we have 10 wards in the local government. They only have 2 machines that are registering people. I was there. I'm part of it. I mobilized people to the place. Yesterday, I mobilized just that 5 person. 2, 3 o'clock, they were still there. So what are we trying to say? The INEC, they are the electoral umpire. They don't need the government to think. They don't need the government to articulate things. They don't need the government to execute what they are supposed to do.
You can't say they don't need the government. You'll be wrong to say that.
You see,
because the laws that govern the electoral umpire as a body comes from the government. We look at the aspect of the legislatures, for instance. We look at the Electoral Act Amendment B, for instance, which houses potential electoral laws. So you can't say that they shouldn't rely on these laws.
Have we been doing election in this country? I'm asking. No, I will be doing election in this country.
It's before us.
So we'll be doing an election. So I am telling you, the cruise of the matter, the foundation is getting voters registered.
Okay,
for people to vote.
Okay, now back to the question.
You are back into the why. You know why we always raise issues when we appoint people to positions. You know why? Because we don't trust ourselves. If PDP is there, PDP will do the same thing. Because PDP know or the other party know that in their own, when they are there, they will also put in their people, and their people will work to their own interests. So because that thief, now no thief.
But that questions the integrity of leadership.
Yes, I'm telling you now that until we, all of us, whether APC, whether PDP, whether churches, begin to put the interests of humanity, the interests of this country at heart, we'll continue to be suspicious of each other. We'll continue to be suspicious on the action of the next person.
Okay, well, what do you make of this development?
To me, that man is a Nigerian.
Being a national commissioner of INEC, constitutionally, you are not supposed to be a card-carrying member of any party.
That is the law. So if it is proven that is a card carrier of a political party, to me personally, it should not be allowed to hold the position. I don't understand. But what I'm saying is that know that you can't do, people can't do against you. Don't do it for other people. If it was PDP, because there was a time this country, the other party was in a position, and they elect their people, into this various position. There was a time the electoral.
What do you mean they elected their people? What do you mean? I don't understand. Are you trying to say that they infiltrated the electoral umpire?
It's not today.
No, we don't have the statistics of that. No, sir. So you don't need to say that. Whatever you have to say, you must back it up with facts.
Yes, to me,
with figures.
There was a time in this country or in this state.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, please. I'll come back to you. But let's have your voice in this issue, because we believe that deepening democracy, we should give some integrity, in what we do. As an electoral umpire, there are rules that guide how they recruit, how they get people as INEC officers, commissioner and recs. So what do you make of this development in that regard?
Well, I think it's the professor is from what part of Nigeria?
South. The question, I know, I'm just trying to ask you. I'm just trying to ask you that. A rhetorical question.
It was a tactical means to also deny the South of their seat in that place. Is that the first presentation? No. It was a tactical attempt to make sure the seat of that South is vacant in that place.
From your perspective.
See, let me back up what I'm saying. When Kemi Adeosun was removed as Minister of Finance, who was used to replace her? When the governor of Ekiti State went back to his place, Fayemi, to contest as Minister of Solid Mineral, who was used to replace him? I can mention about 5 states that those states were all denied of their representation. Somebody else from the north was used to replace them. The way people were fighting in APC here, and our brothers are fighting themselves, Dr. Yegun, Oshomole, and Governor Basek, at the end of the day, has Edo State not been robbed of the opportunity of sitting? Today we now have the North control the party, control the government. Who has now run at loss? Those who are fighting with us, they are tactical. Right. Call them all kinds of names. They are strategic. They are strategic fighter. When the first name was presented, they knew the person they presented, and we were on it. They also needed the voice of the South to condemn their own. And that was done for a long time. Another person was handpicked again. And our seat there, our representation is just empty on that seat. When we had the issue of Dr. Odubu, if Dr. Odubu today is the head of NDDC, is Edo State and Edo Indigene not going to benefit from it? Look at opportunity that Jehovah brought to the state, and out of malicious selfish interests of people who call themselves leaders. Today, that position where Edo State people, Indigene, will have been employed, will have opportunity to go to do scholarship and all the rest. We are denied. The man that is in NDDC today, where is he from? And at the end of the day, all the forensic audit, where has it ended? Has anybody been sent to jail? No. But what we are talking about is that the people themselves. You see, Edo State is the only state in this country that God gave opportunity to produce a chairman of a state, that is a party, a ruling party that back to back.
Yes.
And What can you point, sir? Can you point to one thing in the days of Oyegu that has come to Edo State? Can you point to something today that we can point in the days of Oshomole that, oh, custom training school has come, marine training school, we have it as also play. Why this man was in charge of the, then do you think in the next 40 years, Edo State is going to produce a party chairman of a ruling party? It will never happen. Now, what has happened? People use their interest.
But isn't that presumptive if you say that? Isn't that presumptive?
Well, okay, because
the society we live in is a dynamic one.
Okay, what I'm saying is that another party is going to come up now and pick somebody because Edo State is the creator of all party. Now they will not allow other states where there is zoning formula in other party. I'm talking about zoning of party leadership. So before it will roll to us again, it will take some time. And when it was with us, what did we do? The people here, the sitting governor there was fighting Oyegu and made sure he pulled that. When he came out, he became chairman. It's also people that are erased are also pulling him. It was Nemetica. And at the end of the day, who run at loss? The politician doesn't run at loss because they don't have their own is interest. Yes. They don't fight forever. Yes. They know how to change over. For NEPA light to generator. When they say the prodigal son has returned to his family house, they don't have shame. There's no shame as far as politics is concerned, in as much it is your interest. Whatever you said yesterday, you can vomit it today, and pack your vomit and eat it tomorrow. But the issue is that the INEC themselves, what are the strategic plan beyond? There are laws that establish them. Yeah. What are the strategic plan that, as we are talking now, my brother talked about machine. Yes. What about this? We also talk about sensitization. How many people are aware that this thing is going on? And I also talk about government going to a level of saying, oh, civil servant, by 2 o'clock you close on Friday for 3 weeks so that you can go and register. Now, somebody is doing a daily pay work, a bricklayer is going to spend 1 day to come and do thumbprint, and the team didn't work. He will come tomorrow when they are not paying him. And the man will look at what is my stake in Nigeria. Now, what is the INEC on their own must have a strategic plan to be able to attract people. If you look at the Southerner, it is we that is suffering it because we don't, even the elite does not vote. Even the average people does not vote. Many people have their voters cards. Some people can let their own. Okay, and what I'm saying is that the INEC must have a strategic, because what they are doing now is, I tell you that people that have their card 2015 in Lagos, some of them have not seen their own to collect. And it was a strategic plan to also disenfranchise some people from one part of Nigeria to make sure that they are not able to vote. I tell you now, there are tribes in Nigeria that the poorest of the poor, they have their voters card. We have tribes in Nigeria that they go to their traditional ruler's house, and from there they are giving PVC. What has happened to the South that we don't have such arrangement where all of us can go to church and just say, okay, collect from your pastor's hand. I will go to your traditional ruler.
But is it that there's a separate law? By what you are saying, are you trying to say that you do not believe the technology that INEC is deploying in terms of correcting the
technology? Is it spirit that is going to vote? Technology for who? When people are not aware, people are in the market.
Like the beavers, for instance, the bimodal voter accreditation system.
You are talking of somebody that have voters card. You are talking of somebody. What of those who are 18 now? All our boys up and down that they don't care about voting. What do we do? Are we going to allow those chunk of our population to just be roaming? What is the INEC doing? Or are we going to create another ministry of interfering with youth? Is that what we are going to create? We are going to create. Can INEC on their own not devise a means to be able to attract these chunks of people to come and register? So that when they register also, they will not cause security breach for INEC. INEC will have peace if these people are properly orientated about the need to elect their leaders and not to collect 4,000 naira and suffer for 4 years.
Okay.
Now, these are work of the INEC because they have a public enlightenment department. They can't say they don't have a PRO department. And what is the work of the PRO? To liaise between the public and the establishment, to be able to educate the people. Now, we want to do this. Look at, you are coming to register. Lunch is going to be free for everybody. Can the people in charge not have that? Are they not having miscellaneous in their budget that they can say, okay, let's just make food available for these people? Even Jesus, after preaching, he made food available for people.
Okay, well, we hope that all of this will be addressed and captured. I'll come back to you, but I want your attention on the technology that the electoral umpire is deploying, like the beavers, for instance, the bimodal voter accreditation system. What are your worries about that? Because we had the pool of this technology in Anambra elections, and some criticized it.
Yes, I think to me personally, it's a good development, because that biomodal accreditation system, it does about 3 functions. You know, he identified the fingerprint and the facial, and it also, you can also use it to register. They are using it for registration now. It can also be used to do their review results. So it's a system that is making their job easy and making the electoral process credible. You know, but what we are saying is that we should go beyond that. They have tried, you know, in Anambra election, so though there were some issues, but they should also look at the company that is doing the technology. You know, at times some of this technology doesn't work. Yeah. And then maybe they bring back 10. You discover that inside that 10, you just have 6 that are working. So we must test run this technology and begin to improve on them. I want this thing to end in the process of electronic transmission. You know, when we begin to kind of improve of what we have. And to me, they have tried their best. They are doing their best, and it requires the support of the government, the support of the stakeholders. Okay. You know, the political party are also trying, sensitizing the people, you know, to mobilizing people to go and vote, to go and register. They are doing it. Most of the political party, they are doing even mobilizing the people and giving them transport to go and get registered. But when you mobilize people to an INEC office, you see crowded people. The machine are not enough. The machine, they should provide more machine. And this is like a local government. We only have just 1 point. And that 1 point, 2 machines. So before now, they should take this machine to different wards. If it is 2 per ward, you discover people will be mobilized to go and get registered. So to me, INEC should not wait for executive and legislature to finish their fight before they go ahead with their job. They should be proactive. They should be sensitive. To be creative. They should forget them. But once
they are not waiting for that. They only made. I
think that is.
He only made that statement concerning the timetable release.
And that's a tactics for the government to speed up the electoral process. It's a tactic. Tell them if you don't do this, we will not do this. But that doesn't stop them for doing the basic things that they need to do. Like, for example, how many people are aware that if you don't register now till March, you will not vote in the next election? That was what Bishop was saying. What is INEC doing to sensitize the people? To inform? Do we have national orientation agency in this country again? Do we have? That's why I said our institutions, they are weak. There should be local dialects, there should be flyers, there should be banners everywhere. That if you don't get registered now, not in March, you will not vote in the next election.
Town crier. All those
things. What are they doing? So to me, yeah, there are a lot of challenges, but we should not look at those challenges. We should build on our strength to see how we can navigate. We have been doing election before. In 2015, it was insecurity everywhere. We did the election, another election. You know, the IPOP everywhere. They still did the election. So it is very important. The INEC, you know, look at their strengths. And let us forget the challenges for now and see how we can navigate and make do with what we have, improve what we have. Okay. And also, let me also say that I'm going to go back to what Bishop said concerning governance. There was a time Buhari was interviewed. They interviewed Buhari, and Buhari said that every month a local government chairman will get 300 million, and a governor will come and ask him to sign and make him to sign for 300 million and give him 100 million. And collect the 200 million. Buhari said nobody is asking questions. What we are in this country, all of us is pointing at the federal. We are not pointing at those that are with us. So to be frank,
we can point at that in subsequent editions. But for this one, we are talking about INEC. We are talking about INEC and the task before the government. Yeah, okay, let's thank you very much for that very smart one. I appreciate it. But let's look at this as we round off now, Austin Igbasam. The aspect of the technology being deployed, like the beavers, do you have any worries about?
Don't forget that technology is fantastic, but it's being operated by human beings, not angels. I cite an example to you. There are states that we knew then, even when those states was having an election, fire entered into where the card reader was. It was burnt down. I think it was demons or angels that came to burn that place. They did not burn any other office, but they burned where the card reader is when it was about 6 weeks or 3 weeks to election. And when you remember, you see that trend happened in about 8 major states where they are having election, that fire will enter where card reader was.
Which mustn't be repeated.
Yes, that is. So you can see that even with technology, those who don't want the country to go forward can still do the damage. The politicians themselves. And I tell you, it is not God that set those INEC offices on fire. And it was not God that burned the card reader. But some persons who were afraid that they might not come back decided to do it. Until today, nobody was arrested by police on that asking. Nobody has been sent to jail on that particular thing.
You can't say that because you don't have the statistics.
I have the statistics, sir. I have the statistics that nobody was arrested, nobody was jailed for these 8 INEC offices in the state headquarters that their card readers were set on fire. Yet money was made available to look for how to buy card reader, and that eventually weakened the election and make the desire that people have in mind to come to pass. Now, what I'm saying is that as far as we are concerned, the beavers is a great development, but I think that there's need to go far beyond what we have, because nothing stops us in this country of fabricating that particular equipment that we have people, we have professors, we have people in polytechnics, lecturers who can design all this, even our meter. But it is a country that always look outside. We always look at other nations to be able to help us. Yesterday I was looking at COVID, something where people were clapping hands, and I shook my head that what a begging nation. That we have what it takes. What does it stop us from bringing our virologists and epidemiologists together and put them in a place and make money available for them? Do what we tackle our own. We
but
don't
that's in the pipeline.
But that's in the pipeline. In the pipeline. Where is the pipeline? Where is the pipeline?
To manufacture vaccines. That's the pipeline.
I suggested to federal government 1 year ago on this same platform. Where are the pipeline? Where are the pipeline? Who is busting the pipeline now? When would there be spillage of what is in the pipeline so that the masses can have? For how long? No, I look at one of the things.
But it's wrong to bust the pipeline.
Because I'm talking of the pipeline you are talking about. Not NNPC pipeline.
It's the property of the government.
The things that are in the pipeline is what I'm talking. Yeah. I'm not talking of NNPC pipeline. I'm talking of, you said the plans in the pipeline.
It will come when it will come.
Yesterday I was looking at some of the things supplied. They said do not X-ray, and we receive them. It means that as we are going to disburse it, don't X-ray this thing, don't check it, don't peruse it. May God save. See, we have to get to it. I'm crying for the youth, because the youth now, they don't even want, this one is a long process for them. They don't want election. They want to get money and buy limousine, 2 hours to come. So this is our pain. Is it the kind of youth who are going to leave the nation for, who are not even ready now to be part? Thank God we have some notable youths who are doing great, excellently where they are doing well. But I'm saying that what stops us of designing this, our machine locally? What stops us of designing our meter? We have what it takes here.
Okay.
Why should we look to other nations? Why should we put money elsewhere? So when we have what it takes, I listened to Professor Charles Soludo, who said, my car, official car, will be from Innocent. That's a good one. When Jonathan was there, almost all those vehicles are from Innocent.
Thank you.
It helps to boost our economy.
Thank you so much. A lot has been said. Big thanks. But your final words on this?
I think, to me, in this country, I think we should stop throwing blames. We should stop throwing blame and face the responsibility given to us.
Okay.
If an elective legislature put the interests of the people at heart and go for it. Yeah, and as an INEC, the political empire, you have a responsibility to give us a credible election. How you go about it, we don't care. Okay. All you need to do is be creative, see how you can make it effective.
Okay.
As a president, as an executive, you know the responsibility before you.
Okay.
Place the people ahead. If you can do all this, I believe Nigeria will be a better place.
Thank you. In 30 seconds, thereabouts.
Yes, I want to encourage the INEC to go outside the box and do the needful, and let them not be bought over by politicians. Let them be sincere and do the work well. You see, if a commissioner of police is brought to Edo State, no government will tell him how to settle informant. That's why when you are talking just now that people are working, the how to settle an informant and get informant is the work of the CP, is the work of the DPO. Okay. So everybody in INEC must know how to go to the grassroots and be able to win their environment.
Thank you.
So that we have a better society.
Thank you so much. Big thanks to you, Bishop Austin Igbasa, and of course, Society Alile. A lot has been said as we X-rayed INEC and 2023, the task, and of course, the threats. We'll take a short break. It's the TMI.